Hey there guys, what's going on? It's Gale right here, back on the 5-9 channel, and we're here to review the final show of the winter season, and it could be nothing other than AOT, the final season. With me today we have Trocho. Say hello.
Hello.
And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more anime content. We'll be bringing you guys some more very soon. But let's get right into it. Attack on Titan, the final season has finally aired and finished airing, obviously, as of today and this recording. And boy oh boy, was it a doozy. Of course, we've had a lot. We've had a studio change. We had Wit Studio. We've come to Mappa now for the final season. Trocho, give us a quick rundown on your just general thoughts of how the season went, and then I can give mine.
I think they did a fantastic job adapting this season from the manga. I've read the manga a couple times now, like all the way through, and it was a very faithful adaptation. I don't understand why they stopped where they did. Only a couple chapters later into the manga, it would have been a perfect place to stop and wait for the part 2 of the season. But they did stop at a good point. It is about to get into a very long arc. I believe we're on chapter 116 and we're going into like what, 140 now?
Yep.
So there's a lot to adapt in part 2 and I'm very excited.
Well, yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that. Of course, I've personally only just started reading the manga properly, like I think it was last month I started, and then I've just been binge reading it, and I've almost caught up to, well, I'm caught up to where the manga is about to, what the anime is about to show, sorry, and it's very interesting, trust me guys. So of course we're not gonna try and go into manga spoilers. I mean, that's the hope here. We'll try and reference the manga here and there regarding whatever we've seen so far, but like the other reviews we've done so far, there's gonna be no manga spoilers, at least we hope. If something does slip, well, tough luck. Sorry about that, guys. But of course,
I'll do my best not to do that to y'all.
We'll see. But of course, I'd like to quickly just talk a bit about Mappa themselves. Of course, before the season started, there was a lot of concerns. Just like Trocho said, they did a great job, but there were a lot of concerns. I had been hearing that, you know, the production was very slow in terms of like they only had like a couple of months to prepare everything, get everything sorted out. The animation wasn't even done for the first episode, like 2 to 3 months before the season even started. So there was a lot of crunch time going on over at Mappa, and it was even heard like during the season itself that some episodes didn't even get into review process until like a day or two before the episode aired. Hence why some of the translations took a lot of time for them to even come out as well. So I'm pretty impressed with the quality they gave us in the end. Like, there were some episodes that were questionable in my opinion, like episode 3 or 4, I think one of the flashback episodes. So very questionable in terms of animation and quality, but apart from that, they did a fantastic job. What about you, Trocho? How do you enjoy the animation as a whole, and especially if we compare Mappa's style to Wit?
So this is a very long thing to get into. So First up, I think they did a fantastic job on their own, not comparing them to Wit. I do remember before the season came out, a lot of people were thinking they were going to do a bad job because Mappa had apparently done some mid shows before. I've never seen anything other thing from Mappa besides Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
Do you know what they've done before?
Yeah, no, I know of them beforehand. Of course, they did God of High School, which we knew. Obviously, the animation for God of High School was fantastic, but story could be left a lot to be desired for. But I mean, that's just any webtoon at this point.
That was on
Sorry,
Crunchyroll,
webtoon
I believe,
fans.
anyways.
But yeah, no, it was a Crunchyroll original, but the studio that handled it was Mappa. So it was like by Mappa themselves. They had done some fantastic shows even beforehand as well. Like I think it was Dorohedoro that came out earlier this year as well. Or earlier last year, I should say, or the year before. One of the I don't remember which season it was, in fall season of 2019 or winter season of 2020. They did that. So they have some good titles in terms of quality. It was just that they had been taking up so many shows at the same time. Like, as I mentioned in the Jujutsu Kaisen review, during the winter season itself, we had Jujutsu Kaisen airing, we had AOT, and then they had their own original show that was airing around the fall season and carried a bit into the winter season with Taiso Samurai. So it was a very a lot of people were concerned because of how many shows they were picking up and, you know, doing at the same time, and it was like, what's gonna, you know, go on the cutting block? What are they gonna give up? Is it gonna be AOT? Is it gonna be Jujutsu Kaisen? Or is it gonna be their own original show in Taiso Samurai? Obviously, you know, God bless, they did a fantastic job with AOTs. I mean, outside of the small issues, But considering I went in with like zero expectations, I personally didn't mind it. Sorry, carry forward, Troco.
Yeah, I thought even the CGI was way overhated. The music too. There's a lot of people that were upset about the music. For Reiner and Bertolt's theme not being used all this time later, like let Mappa use their own music. They don't have to fall back on pre-established stuff. If you complain about the music, you're just kind of an idiot. I'm a be honest, dude. I saw that complain about so much, and the CGI. The CGI was fine.
Yeah.
The CGI was great, and this actually leads me to the point of Mappa versus Wit. I like Mappa a lot more than Wit. Wit did a fantastic job. I don't want to underplay what they did, but if you go back and actually take a critical look at Wit, like a lot of people did to Mappa, just because, oh, it's a new studio, they can't do AOT. Like a lot of those people were overly critical of Mappa. If you go take the same critical look at Wit, there were so many scenes of very like stiff animation. There was a scene, I forget where it was, but Reiner was literally a PNG and they just took him into like they keyframed him in Premiere and just dragged him down. That was all they did. It was so bad. Even Levi versus Beast Titan, it was a cool fight, but it was a lot of stiff animation. It was really carried heavily by the art style. And the actual animation was kind of, it was good, but it wasn't what people made it out to be. And I feel Mappa got a lot of undeserved hate near the beginning for that. I do think they did a fantastic job. I would have I do prefer CGI over very stiff animation, so I can't complain. Hashtag thank you, Mappa. Get that trending on Twitter. They did a fantastic job. They took on so many shows and they delivered on every single one of them, I feel.
Yeah, I think the one thing I will say about Mappa that I will admit is that I personally initially preferred Wit's style as well. But I think, having read the manga and knowing Issayama's art style kind of made me sway towards Mappa a bit more. And like you said, I think if the CG is all right to good, it's not as bad as bad CGI. And I don't think Mappa ever did bad CGI. Yes, I always say, like, even if you have all right CGI, it can be kind of noticeable. Great CGI is barely noticeable at all. Like, you'd think it's actually part of the keyframe, right? More often than not, it's still noticeable, and it was noticeable here as well, but it wasn't like to the point of where it was kind of like something from like Overload or Ari Ferreira, where the CGI was heavily noticeable, or even Dragon Ball Super Broly, where that CGI was noticeable and it was bad CGI, in my opinion, of course, the few times they used it in that movie. But again, like you said, Mappa did a fantastic job, in my opinion, and yeah, I think they did a good job for what I expected, and I expected zero from them considering how many shows they had taken, right? But yeah, another thing that I have an issue with, and I know Troco is immediately gonna call me out on this one because he enjoyed it a lot more than I did. I want Linked Horizon back for the OP. I'm sorry, I did not like this season's OP. Personally, of course. I think this is probably one of my lowest rated OPs. I think the only one lower than this is probably OP2. Troco, what did you think about
I don't get why you have it that low. First of all, Gale, listen, alright, you kind of... Gale, what the heck? But no, I think this opening was overhated. Even at the beginning, I didn't really care for it much. Like many other people, did grow on me a lot. Not my favorite. I still think my favorite is extended version of opening 1, then 5, then 2, then I think 3, then this one probably, a rough estimate, but the music itself is whatever. The actual visuals, I really... If we are 2 weeks away from the final chapter, and that smoke in the opening... I really wish that as the season went on, if they kept the same opening, it would have lifted the fog more and more per episode. I thought that would have been really cool. Because I think I know what it's hiding. Not 100% confirmed, but if you guys have read the manga, you know what I'm talking about, probably.
I love these innuendos
but
you're trying to
visually,
get through.
I thought it was great. Soundtrack-wise, I thought it was also really good. I don't think we have the extended version yet, which is kind of unfortunate, if there even is one.
I don't think we do. I've tried checking.
Like
I think, but to be fair, I did check like day one if there was an extended version to see if I'd like it more. But yeah, I didn't find it, of course. I assume maybe there might be one now, but we'll probably have to wait and see. Maybe you guys can, let us know in the comment section below if there is an extended version out yet or not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough. I agree with you. The soundtrack overall was great. I think the ED, I think it's called Shock, was good. I'm
gonna be honest, I listened to it once and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then I turn off the episode every single time.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like, I mean, that's what I always do. Like, unless the OP is an absolute banger or ED is an absolute banger. Like, for example, JJK's Lost in Paradise, the first.
Oh yeah, I can never skip that ending. But AOT, I skip the ending every time.
I feel like that also comes into play. Like, some OPs and EDs you cannot skip. but there are some that are good, but you can skip. And I'd say this is one of those where, like, yeah, these are skippable kind of for me personally, and I think Choco would agree with me on that one. Like, these are good, these may be good, but they're not like I can listen to them every single day.
You can skip the ending, you skip the opening, and you're a freak like Gale.
Okay, okay. So specifically, if you listen to the OP, then you're not a freak, and if you don't listen to OP, you're a freak like me. All right, let's go with that then. Yeah. But yeah, that's our general thoughts. We'll move straight into the plot points that we have to address and talk about. Now, this is where I will say, forgive us if we do go into manga spoilers a bit, more so on Troco's behalf.
I will do my best.
A bit more so on Troco's behalf. So, let's talk about Marley and the Eldians. The biggest, I mean, this is literally everything that we're talking about. This is the entire show, basically, and what everything is going on about, and the reason why the show is even happening at this point, right? It's so interesting, to say the least. Like, the fights between the Marleyans and the Eldians, and the way the Eldians are being treated like there's some sort of like subspecies kind of at some points.
Listen, okay, so I want to talk about this, and it's been, because I know what you're alluding to, how they're treated. Yeah. Everyone knows what it seems like, and it's not meant to not be that. It's pretty clear what the symbolism is, but there's a lot of people on Twitter who take it at face value and then bash AOT for being a
I know
gamer word.
Well,
type
okay,
series, when it's not at all.
Okay, I can try and give a good indication. So basically what they're trying to refer to is more so to the 1938's Germany, kind of, effectively, is the best way to put it, for, you know, avoidance of trying to
the armbands, it's
getting demonetized. We don't want to get demonetized, but basically what they're referring to is 1938 Germany, and the Eldians are basically the species that unfortunately were, for a lack of a better word, treated very poorly in that era. So I know what you mean, but
did you say species?
Well, they are being treated like subspecies, right? Like, that's the whole point.
Treated, okay.
No, I'm saying they're being treated like subspecies, basically.
You said species straight up. All right, anyways.
Okay, I mean, yeah, but that's how they're being treated, right?
Marley and Eldians, you know what it's alluded to? A lot of people on Twitter believe that to be Issayama, the mangaka, the writer of AOT, is a Germany 1938 sympathizer or anything like that. He's definitely not. It's very clear that's not meant that that's a good thing in the slightest. I think if you actually read the manga, it's a fantastic storytelling way of Eldians and Marleyans. It's not anything, or he's not like sympathizing, and there's a whole apparently Korean stuff he's like against or something like that. It's whole weird what Twitter puts him into.
Yeah, I mean,
for no reason.
I mean, that's Twitter in a nutshell, to be honest. But I mean, I'll still maintain this. I mean, if you're targeting Issayama after that, then you have to target so many other authors that have written questionable things. Redo of Healer's author, for example. I mean, the guy is literally portraying the main character as a douchebag. You know, he's, I mean, I don't want to explain it, but those of you who know Redo of Healer, of course, know what I'm talking about in terms of who the MC
he's
is,
meant
right?
to be like a not good character, whereas it's meant to be
here, but
putting down what happened.
Yeah, but I feel this is like, yes, authors have the ability, or I should say, the freedom to write how they want to, and make their story and design it in a way that it represents it in a really good way. And I think he's done a fantastic job in effectively kind of representing that period in a different format, basically, without, you know, I don't think he's sympathized with them in any sort of manner. I mean, having read the manga and watching the anime so far, it never felt that way personally, you know? I don't know where it's come from, where it's like he's sympathizing with them, which I completely disagree with entirely.
Yeah, it's just Twitter being stupid. Yeah. But I think we should move on to the next point.
Yeah, and of course, that's our personal opinion. Of course, let us know, what do you guys think? I mean, if you
have an opposing opinion to that, listen, don't even bother commenting, please.
But no, on a real though, but yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, I
on a real, if you have the opinion of the stupid Twitter people like Vice or whatever that made the article,
yeah, it's odd. It's genuinely odd. I'll still maintain, like, I genuinely enjoyed how it was portrayed, like the way it was done. You know, in terms of like showing every perspective, I think they did a good job at showing the perspectives of both the Marleyans, the Eldians, and whatnot. and showing how the Eldians were treated as well. It was a great job. You kind of also felt for them in certain ways, and I think that was a great job by the both the animators and of course Isayama's writing. It was well done, I think. The next thing that happened, of course, and the biggest thing I think we need to talk about is war, and this is, I think, personally one of my favorite moments in this season as a whole. Especially, I think I don't remember what the episode number was, but Assault, I think that's the name of the episode, which was really, really great. I think this was when Mikasa tried to destroy the Warhammer crystal and Eren was trying to consume it as well. And then he emerges from his Titan form and transforms again and whatnot. I think that was fantastic. What was your favorite moment during the war section?
Probably when he ate the Warhammer Titan.
Yeah.
And he used Porco, right, that's his name, as like a
Nutcracker.
That was just
bro,
great.
that was
fantastic. Fantastic.
That was so good.
I think he should have eaten the Jaw Titan. Reiner took a long time to get over there. Eren should have just, ate the Jaw Titan, had both, and fled.
Yep.
But no, for the sake of plot convenience, unfortunately, he couldn't take in both. But that whole war arc, the declaration of war, was so well adapted. I saw a lot of people complaining that it wasn't what people really hyped it up to be, because I guess people got the wrong idea of it being like a way more actiony than it was.
Yeah, the problem is when you call it a war arc, you think of it like, kind of Infinity War-esque from Avengers, like this massive, like 300, 400 people fighting against each other, kind of massive scale. Whereas this one, while it had a bit of like, two sides fighting against each other. It wasn't like full blown out, like consistent, we see people dying, and I mean, we did see somebody die, but we'll come on to that in a second. But yeah, I think they were expecting a lot more deaths and whatnot, which I didn't think personally would happen.
I mean, to be fair, Eren did like body slam an entire thing of people.
I mean,
and
true,
generally
true.
like personally when I hyped it up,
yeah, no, true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, like Eren killed a lot of people.
Yeah,
right
he
there.
killed a lot of civilians, to be fair. That is
in
true.
general, I know for myself and a lot of other people hyped it up, we meant more from a world building perspective.
Gotcha.
Which it added a ton to the lore. Like it was
100%.
That's what we were all hyping up. And of course it could have been, I don't know, I guess it could have added more explosions and whatnot, but the whole Declaration of War I thought was perfectly adapted. I know a lot of people, again, that was pretty much where the first big music complaints came in, where they didn't play You See Big Girl or whatever. Or Appleseed, one of the two. And again, those people are dumb.
No, I agree. I think the one thing I will say though, like, Eren killing the civilians was kind of like, that was nuts. That was kind of like, okay, yeah, that's fair. But I agree. I think also another thing, I guess they meant, like, they must have thought, or people must have generally thought that, when you guys said that it was gonna be insane, I think they assumed like somebody important was also gonna die, I suppose. And we didn't necessarily have that. But speaking of people dying, F Gabby, I suppose. I mean, that was probably that moment really was. I mean, I've never had joy in seeing a little girl being beat up. And I know that sounds wrong, and I know out of context people will come after me for saying that, but it was probably the most joyful moment I've ever seen in my life. In my life, sorry. After seeing Sasha get shot and Gabby getting beaten up, that was perfect. I mean, Sasha dying was sad. The Gabby part was good. Thumbs up for me. What about you? What did you think of that, Trocho?
So I mean, like, it's the same way I feel about Flock. I think Gabby and Flock are both really well written characters, but I hate them both. Even later in the manga, I still hate Gabby because she's just a little cringer doing stuff, and I hate her. But Gabby is a really well written character, and I think a lot of people don't put the two and two together. That well written does not mean you don't like the character as a character.
I mean, like, it's like a well-written villain. Yeah, he's well-written, but do you hate him? Yeah, you hate him. Do people like that? I mean, people must like Thanos, but they don't like him as a character, quote unquote. They hate his character, but they like how well he was written, right? Similarly, I think it's the same situation with Gabby here. Like, fair enough, they did a fantastic job in terms of how they showed her off as this young soldier who's being trained to combat the Marleyans, and then coming to a point where it's like, oh, you've killed Sasha, now I hate you, kind of thing. But the development of her is very solid still, right? So yeah, I personally, like, I can hate her, but character is still good. So yeah, that's fair. The next thing we will talk about is, of course, the guilt of Reiner and the Eldians. What did you think of this one, Troco?
It's great. I love Reiner having to deal with the guilt of everything. I mean, he was about to, commit gamer Persona 3 right before Falco was right outside his window at some point, and I think this is great, giving a better understanding of Reiner as a character. Like when he was telling the horror stories of Paradise, I forget the exact story, but it was very like comedic telling, but because the Eldians are so afraid of the island devils, what would come across as a comedic story to anybody who knows, like, Paradise, it was horrifying to them in the island. And Reiner, with his, I guess, split personality type thing, where he saw himself as an actual, like, if you recall back in, I think, season 2, it was hinted way back that they were called warriors because Bertolt was saying there was something like, you're supposed to be a warrior, or you're not a soldier, you're a warrior. Type thing, where he was trying to live two lives. He got way too involved in LARPing, basically, on the island. He couldn't always separate the two, and getting back to the island, getting back to Marley, he had to just kind of live with the people that he truly befriended as Reiner, the soldier, and not the warrior. He's responsible for having them killed, and he's coming to terms with that, and I think it's fantastic Reiner storyline. And then Reiner just becomes a punching bag. So
yeah,
very
I
sad
think
for my boy.
I think the one thing I will say, and this is gonna be a kind of a big jump between like seasons and whatnot, just generally having read both the manga and the anime, watching the anime right now, or the manga up until now, or this point in the anime, is I really like the storylines Issayama is doing, but the timeline, my guy, you need to do your timings a lot better, because it's a bit confusing as to when what happens and what's happening where and whatnot. But overall, I must admit, like, the development that each character gets is solid for the most part. Some characters I feel could get a bit more love here and there, but yeah, Reiner is one of those that did it. He's done a fantastic job. I think season 2 to now has been a great, transformation, I suppose is the best way to put it, right? Speaking of transformation, Eren. Yeah, he's not the hero we all thought once upon a time ago, and everybody assumed he would be, Levi saving his life and thinking he was going to be the person to change everybody's lives and save everybody. This is obviously big. I didn't think it was gonna happen. Even I personally was kind of surprised as to how different Eren's becoming, and it's a shocker. It's a genuine shocker for somebody who's started off as somebody who was like completely against the Titans and whatnot, and now he's just like, you know what? Yeah, F y'all, I'm just doing my own thing right now. This was crazy. What about you, Troco? How did you feel about this whole transformation Eren's had since season 1 to now?
So, if we're looking at it like in not including manga, it's definitely a very out there kind of character transformation.
Yeah.
Where, because again, there's like what, 30 chapters, something like that, or no, it's like what, 20,
21, 22, give or take, yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So as a manga reader, we have one chapter left, and it's gonna tie everything together, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Eren's transformation from just season 1 to season season 4, is a very bizarre transformation. We get that he's been, the world is against his entire race, and it's definitely something that, it's very understandable why he's going the direction he is, because the entire outside world hates you just because of your DNA type thing.
Yeah.
It's a very fast transformation, which, again, in the manga, it's explained a bit more, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but I do highly encourage everyone to read the manga, because it's going to be
clear.
Like, what, 8 months or something like that? 7, 8 months?
Yeah, give or take.
Until...
Yeah. No, it'll be more than that, because we'll probably get
9 or so.
For the next season, right? It'll be 10 months, because it's going to start during the winter season, which is Jan beginning, because they never...
It was like certain in December, but either way, it's like 9-10 months. I highly recommend everyone to read the manga, because Eren has so much more kind of explained, especially in the most recent chapter. A bit of the time gap is explained a bit more, and then again, we're waiting for the final chapter to actually explain everything. That it's either going to make the series a 10 out of 10 or like a 2 out of 10.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you think this is a question to you more so, because I know you've read the entirety of manga, and I know you can say yes or no depending on it, or you can't say because it'll spoil something. How much or to what degree did Yelena and Zeke
Not
manipulate?
at all. Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Okay.
Not at all. But at the same time, again, in 2 weeks we'll see everything.
Because
but
obviously we know in the latest or the last episode, on episode 15, Zeke and Eren had a bit of a discussion. Obviously Yelena and Eren had their own discussion a couple of episodes ago as well. And even in the last episode, when the conversation between Zeke and Eren happened, it felt like Eren was already set on a path beforehand as well. Whereas everything around them were saying like, oh, Yelena's manipulating Eren. Oh, Zeke's manipulating Eren somehow, something or the other. But it felt since the last episode that there was a degree of Eren knew what he had to do and he's not going to turn away from it anymore. Like that was, now it's set. Like up until now, he was kind of being chucked around, the idea of what was happening from seasons 1 to 3 and, trying to do a little bit of everything, trying to keep everybody happy and make sure keep everybody safe and whatnot. But now he's kind of like, no, that's not going to work. I need to do my own thing kind of thing, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed in the last episode. And I know people will question like whether he was actually, is he actually getting manipulated or not? And I personally think he isn't. And obviously,
I mean, in the second most recent episode, I think he said no, he's free, and he knows he's free, kind of. Again, it's this thing that it's very manga heavy territory, but
Gotcha.
no, I don't think he's being manipulated by them. It's all explained even more further in detail, but just in the season alone, it's very clear that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Whether it involves Zeke or Yelena or not, like manipulating him.
All right, so the second round of effing people, F-Lock. I don't like the guy, bro.
Okay, listen, I can't.
I understand. I respect like his character as the guy who like entirely trusts Eren. Like he's that guy who's just like, even if he's wrong, he's the person to take us away. But the way he acts as well, my God, is he a little? He's probably one of the worst characters in the. I mean, well written, but I don't like him, kind of thing. What about you, Troco?
Okay, he's well written up until later in the manga when there is 3 moments in the entire manga that make me question how did that even happen, and Flock is my number 2 worst moment in the entire series for how did that even happen.
Yeah.
So Flock has okay character development. He was a nothing character that his only real thing was maybe he appeared in season 1 and 2. I don't know as a background, but in season 3, he brought Erwin's body, and then all of a sudden he's like kind of helping one of the he's like semi-leader of the Jaegerists type thing, right?
Yeah.
He had a very quick character arc. I don't really like him as a character, and I think he's well written to an extent, but he falls off a cliff very, very fast later in the manga, and he's one of the worst plot lines in the entire manga, and it's very sad.
I mean, I'm interested. I mean, I would like to see it for myself, of course, once we start getting the manga adaptation, or once the anime comes around, and I finish reading off the manga as well to see what.
Yeah, 10 months. Don't wait 10 months, people. Just read the manga, please.
I mean, that's also there. We will also be, by the way, kind of like putting it in between. We'll also mention it towards the end. We will be doing the final chapter review on the channel as well, so be on the lookout for that. And we might just talk about. Whoops, moved my mic a bit there. We might just talk about the entire manga as a whole there, and it'll probably be like a 40-45 minute review probably. But the next thing obviously to talk about is relation to Zeke himself, of course, his backstory, seeing a bit of Grisha and of course his first wife, what was her name, Dina, I think that was it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think so.
Very interesting to say the least, the way Grisha wanted Zeke to grow up, kind of, and he was part of, what was it called again,
Eldian Restorationists.
Restorations, yes. I was saying I was gonna just say recreations for some reason, and that wasn't even a word. The restorations, right? And I liked it to an extent. I think it was good, but some of it I felt like I was missing some points, and I don't know if it'll be expanded upon later on as well, but I felt like there was some things that I was missing entirely from it. And I don't know if it was just me that felt that way. Let us know in the comment section below, what did you think of the backstory with Zeke? I liked it because it kind of showed how Zeke grew up, but I felt like we were missing plot points. What do you think, Troco?
I thought it was fantastic. I love his backstory. I love how it was led up to the point where he just betrayed his father
Yep.
because he was just a normal Eldian wanted to be an honorary Marleyan, but he found out because he had to, or else his entire family would go. I love that as a like revelation.
Yep.
His relation to what's his name again?
Xaver.
Skaver? Yes.
Yep.
Ksaver.
Yeah.
That guy, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
His whole relation to him, and his then plan to euthanize every Eldian to stop the like discrimination type stuff going on against him.
Yep.
It's fantastic. Zeke has one of the probably the best stories in all of AOT. Actually, maybe like top 3, probably. Just I mean, I don't really actually know who I'd have above him. I mean, Aaron's probably like number 1, maybe depending on his chapter. But Zeke's storyline is like done and resolved, and it's fantastic. Like seeing him as a kid to a teenager to who he is now, it's just been great. His everything about Zeke is a fantastic character.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on that one. I just feel like I might be missing something, but otherwise, in general, like you said,
Well,
Zeke,
what do you think you're missing? I'll answer if I can in the non.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's more so along the lines of something to do with Grisha and Dina, more so. I feel like I'm missing something with them. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just shipping.
Yes, and you're literally like 2 chapters away from it. I think chapter like what 121, 122 is where there's even more Zeke stuff explained. And I promise you, people, read the manga. And then Alex, the Gaming Claw, shout out to him. I believe that still is that, right? It should still be the Gaming Claw.
At the Gaming Claw, yeah.
Go check him out after you fully read the manga. Drop him a follow and read all his AOT stuff.
Gotcha.
Like all his tweets. Search Paz at the Gaming Claw. Paz, and he should have a thread explaining everything.
Gotcha.
Paz has been hinted at in the anime so far, but it is very complicated and it's insane where the manga is heading now. So, if you want a full explanation, I hope he has it covered.
That makes sense. I mean, that's just me, because I was just like, I feel like I'm missing a little teeny tiny bits here and there with Grisha and Dina more so. But hey, all this review has become is just suggesting to everybody read the manga, basically.
Because you don't really get a lot more for Dina in the manga, but Grisha you do get a bit more, and it's insane how it's delivered, dude. Oh, I love it, dude. Read the manga, please.
There we go. But the next thing we obviously see immediately, I think after his backstory, is that he basically tries transforming, and then blows up the cart with Levi on it. We didn't even see Levi after that in this episode, and it's just like, huh. Well, I mean, by this episode, I mean the last episode, and I was like, is he alive or dead? And that's a good question. Obviously, I know Trocho knows, so I'm not gonna ask him.
So the Geek, I think, is editing this. Shout out to him. He's a good lad. Put like a spoiler thing if you can, real quick. Jump ahead to whatever time thing it says. I'm gonna give you guys like another 3 seconds if you're tabbed out. Listen to this like podcast style.
All right.
Time done. So it's not heavy spoilers or anything like that, but Levi doesn't die.
Okay.
But it's by far, that is the worst thing in all of the AOT manga. He does have, the Ackerman power where you can do whatever, but he took a missile point blank and he didn't die. And within an hour, he is back in ODM gear moving around, and all he lost was like 2 fingers, and he got bandaged up, and he rested for like an hour, and he's good. He is in the war. It is the worst thing the manga has done. There is 2 other things, one involving Hanji and one involving Flock, that are almost as bad. But Levi has way too much plot armor. It's actually so stupid that he's alive, and it makes me angry. He should not be alive. That is a gosh dang missile. Point blank. The horse erupted in flames, Gale. The horse is on fire, Gale. And Levi landed in the creek or something like that. I forget how. I think he landed in the grass and he swam down the creek with Hanji or something, and it was so stupid. He should have been dead. All right. Anyway, rant's over. AOT's wonderful. Read the manga.
Okay, so
sorry, Geek.
So Geek, you can go back and cut it in there. All right. So guys, you're joining us back after a small mini rant from your boy Trocho over here. I found out what happened, and trust me, you guys will be very excited about it. Trust me. But no, it's a good question. I think you guys can let us know in the comment section down below. What do you think about that? Do you think Levi is alive or dead? Don't spoil, by the way. I'll see you. I'll delete your comments. But yeah, no, that's exciting.
I'll delete you.
What's that?
You post spoilers, I'm gonna delete you.
I mean, delete your comment, both may as well. But yeah, then we round up the final episode with, of course, he basically you know, trying to save Gabby basically, and then we see the entirety of all the warships, I think, coming over to
Yeah, there was like 3, dude. Calm down. Alright, it is a lot more in the manga.
Yeah, I mean, in Shiganshina, and then we see Eren basically going up and saying, "Bring it on, Reiner." Sorry, and it's
I
like,
called him Reiner the entire video.
did I call him that? Oh my god, I'm
call him
blanking
Reiner.
out. Sorry, chat. Sorry, comments. Ah, God, look at me. I'm a mess. But Reiner, he says, "Bring it on, Reiner," and it's like, I swear this is like V35 at this point of like their fight between each other, because I swear they fought like 3 to 4 times now. A bit exaggerating the 35, but the 3 is at least accurate, I think. Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting to see how that culminates. What did you think about that, Troco? The final episode overall, what do you think?
It was fantastic. I love that Porco, you could see him in the crowd. That was great. That was in the manga, but I didn't notice that, and I don't know anybody else who noticed that, because
I didn't
he
notice
just
it either,
blended
to be
in,
honest. Yeah.
and it was fantastic. Yeah, the whole, I guess, rematch of them coming, I can't really say much, but the next 2 chapters are crazy, and then it gets crazier and crazier up until the point where it's like, alright, Issayama, it's a bit too crazy. Dude, calm down. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
And we're having to wait for the final chapter. But yeah, this whole arc, this declaration of war this is turning into like to the Jaegers, and now this is like another war, because, you know, you have Eren there, you have Marley, and you have the Eldians. It's turning into another war. It's fantastic. Then leads into the craziest part of the entire series.
So basically the end is what you mean.
Yeah, this is a final arc. In this chapter where it ends, this is the final arc of the series, presumably, because the final chapter and whatnot.
Unless they decide to pull off an SDS and make a sequel with the kids somehow.
Let's not do that.
But yeah, let us know in the comment section below, what did you guys think of any plot points we might have missed that you guys wanted to hear about. And you guys can talk about them in the comment section. Of course, no spoilers once again. Be wary of no manga spoilers. Just warning y'all. But yeah, let us give our final thoughts on this one, Troco. I enjoyed as I said, I enjoyed the season. Like, it kind of broke my expectations, because I was going in with 0 expectations considering my concerns with Mappa, as well as just the scheduling and the production and whatnot. It was just like, my expectations were kind of low. I wasn't going in with the highest of expectations, and I'm happy. I'm very, very happy with what we got in the end. It was exciting throughout. You know, there were moments that kind of were, you know, I literally gasped out loud in IRL basically, and it was a joy to watch. It was a complete joy to watch, outside of the OP though. Outside of the OP, but
Man, what the heck? All right, yeah, I'm
Choco,
taking over now.
what about you?
Yeah, so it was fantastic. Mappa did a fantastic job. I don't know how they managed to do like 4 animes back to back,
Yeah,
and
it's
even at the same
insane.
time,
Yeah.
with Jujutsu Kaisen and AOT at the same time, and both were fantastic. Props to Mappa.
Can I interject? I feel bad for their employees, man. They better get a raise or something after this, bro. They've been doing so much in the last like 3 seasons of anime airing, like since the summer to now. God of High School, Taiso Samurai, Jujutsu Kaisen, you know,
Yeah,
AOT.
if we're gonna go off track for a second, real quick.
Yeah.
My speculation on that is I think Mappa hired a ton of employees.
Oh yeah, they must have hired a
all
lot
on
of
the
freelancers.
on the
Yeah.
gamble that if they all the shows did well, they'd make a really big name for themselves, which I think they did. So I'm hoping it was a gamble and they got enough employees that it wasn't horrible crunch.
I think
back
it
to
might have been a
OT.
mixture of a couple of things. I think it might have been a combination of hiring a lot more freelancers, as well as outsourcing a lot of work as well, because I highly doubt they've gotten a lot of people via COVID, especially, right? It would have been kind of hard. So I assume it's a bit of a both of like couple of outsourced episodes, as well as hiring a lot more people, because yeah, like you said, it's kind of hard to do like multiple shows at once. Like, I mean, look at JC staff last year in 2019. They did or last year, sorry, 2 years ago. It was horrible. They were doing like 11 shows in the whole year, and it was just, you could see some shows being absolute disappointments. I know people dislike
How?
One Punch Man season 2, Danmachi season 2 as well was kind of bad. You know, there were some shows that just went horribly for JC staff, and that was just because they did too many shows. And that was the biggest concern with Mappa. Again, like I said, for me personally, I'm glad that they did a good job. But yeah, sorry, carry on, Troco.
Yeah, but back to like AOT,
Mhm.
it's fantastic.
Yep.
I'd say it's like a perfect adaptation.
Yep.
Some, like, I guess minor complaints, like, sure, CGI, oh no, but, like, realistically speaking, they couldn't have really done much more in the time they were given.
Yeah.
And even probably, like, assuming with their team and whatnot, adaptation was fantastic. Music choices, again, if you're one of the people that, there was people sending legitimate death threats to the people, though, those people are actually should be shunned from the community, but even if you're, like, complaining about music, it's kind of dumb, man.
Yeah.
Let Wit have their music and let Mappa be their own. Let them be their own separate companies. Again,
Exactly.
I prefer Mappa over Wit. Wit's animation was good. I don't mean to bash it, but it was stiff at times. So I prefer CGI over noticeably stiff animation that was only carried by the art style. But
Gotcha.
that's enough of me ranting about AOT.
Actually,
Listen,
no. Before we go on, because I know for the last 3 previews we couldn't necessarily do it because we didn't have any none of us were the manga readers for those specific shows. And I've personally, like, even though I've read the manga, like, it's kind of blank at some point. So I'd like to ask you, did you notice anything particularly noticeable being cut from the show?
No, perfect adaptation.
There you go.
I believe the only thing they did was, you know, the Warhammer Titan's brother guy, whatever his name was. I believe in the manga,
but yeah.
it was swapped by an episode. I think his whole thing in the cart where he was saying he knows he's gonna die.
Yeah.
I think in the manga that was before he did his speech, and in the anime it was after.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's about it. I don't remember anything being cut. I reread the manga like a month and a half ago. I don't think anything was cut, and I think that was the only thing that was kind of swapped. Maybe.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah, apart from that, as I said, good job from Mappa. Plaudits to them. They did a great job, in my opinion. And of course, today, I mean, just like the other shows, I think it was for Dr. Stone and JJK, we got announcements. We got an announcement for AOT as well that season 4 is getting a part 2, but it's only coming out in winter 2022, which could mean either they do a similar start that they did right with this season, where it started in the middle of December randomly, and technically that was the fall season it started in, or they start at the second week of January, because the first week of January is usually like a break for them because New Year's, but the second week of January. I am kind of okay with an anime, but a part of me was just like, should have been a movie. I would have, and I think people will say, oh, they couldn't have covered a lot in a movie, but I mean, a lot of movies these days, especially animated movies, like you look at Demon Slayer, it's nearly a 2-hour movie. It's 1 hour 59 minutes runtime. Violet Evergarden, 2 hours 20 minutes. You know, and especially with the franchise like AOT, that's exceptionally popular and has been spanning over a decade. They could have pulled off a 2.5 hour movie at least. What do you think, Troco? Would you have preferred a movie versus a season?
Probably, because everything from now on, there are a lot of chapters that are kind of not necessarily filler, but they don't really need to be there. Not a lot really gets done. It almost feels like it's dragged on, especially there's one thing which, so if you guys think this video is long, we're going to be doing like a 2.5 3 hour final chapter review. I'm bringing Ignanon, by the way, Gail.
That's fine.
And we're going to review the
Yep.
And it's going to be like a 3-hour review, unironically, because there's so much to talk about AOT, the manga-wise. But yeah, a lot of the chapters could really be summed up in 5 minutes. Nothing happens besides some dialogue, and that's it. There's a lot of the recent chapters have been kind of questionable and can be condensed pretty easily, I feel. So I think a movie could have happened, but I'm happy with either.
Yeah.
I really did expect a
for
movie,
me personally, I think a movie just does better because people will say, oh, it takes a lot more resources, which it does, of course. You know, you have to do marketing, put it into cinema chains and stuff like that. And of course, we're still in a pandemic. But I mean, the Demon Slayer success is is evidence in itself that it still works. Like a movie would work no matter what. And on top of that, another thing people forget is that a movie is like one fluid storyboard, whereas when you're making a season, it's splitting it up into like 12 mini storyboards and trying to figure out where to cut it, where to start it, where to cut it, where to start it, kind of thing, right? Which can be kind of difficult for animators and writers especially, and it can be a time-consuming process. Whereas, as I said, for a movie, you can pretty much put it into one fluid storyboard. You have the references, smash it out, kind of thing. But another reason why I think they didn't go for a movie is, of course, Jujutsu Kaisen is also getting its movie, so I don't think Mappa wanted to do 2 movies at the same time. I don't think that would have been healthy at all. So yeah, let us know in the comment section down below. Actually, would you guys prefer a movie, or would you guys have preferred a season? Or would you guys prefer the season we're getting, actually, I should say. But any final thoughts before we wrap up, Troco?
Nope. AOT's great, or maybe it's garbage. Who knows? We'll find out in 2 weeks.
Yep. And in 2 weeks, like Troco mentioned, we will be doing an AOT review. He's clearly said he wants to do 2.5 hours, 3 hours. We'll see you then for that. If you guys are interested in more AOT stuff, leave a like, subscribe down below. It's been Galeriot and Troco. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Peace out.
See ya.